from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lapis.
Henrico supervisors approve a new budget and lobby for a seat on the GRTC Board of Directors. And what changes to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine distribution mean for Henrico County? We'll have details about those stories and more in today's Henrico News Minute. It's Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. It's brought to you today by Henrico County's Department of Public Utilities.
And now for the news.
Well, an announcement yesterday from Virginia officials that the state will follow guidance from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and Centers for Disease Control and pause the use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine will not impact many Henrico residents, at least initially. In the statement yesterday morning, FDA officials said the pause was occurring, quote, out of an abundance of caution, end quote, while they investigate 6 cases of rare blood clots in women ages 18 to 48 who received the vaccine. They developed the clots between 6 and 13 days after getting vaccinated, and one died. That person was a Virginia resident, the state confirmed late last night. Another person is hospitalized in critical condition. Those 6 people were among more than 6.8 million who have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine to date in the U.S. That makes any potential connection between the vaccine and the blood clots exceedingly rare. Now, statewide officials are planning to use the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to fill in for people who were scheduled to receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine wherever possible. In some cases, that's not possible, and those appointments will be rescheduled. The Richmond and Henrico health districts had been planning to use about 750 doses of the J&J vaccine this week at small events. They will now continue those events with either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines. They announced that yesterday. They will, however, pause plans to vaccinate homebound seniors and to initiate walk-up clinics for other seniors, since both of those were slated to use the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Virginia and its partner pharmacies received a total of about 234,000 doses of the J&J vaccine last week, but only about a tenth as many this week. That's in large part because of manufacturing issues at a Baltimore facility that caused 15 million doses to be discarded. Now, if you've received the J&J vaccine, you are advised to contact a healthcare provider if you experience severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, or sudden shortness of breath within about 3 weeks of being vaccinated. During a call with reporters yesterday, State Vaccine Coordinator Danny Avula indicated that the J&J pause will not impact the state's ability to vaccinate people in Phase 2, and said it still should be able to offer vaccine doses to everyone who wants one by the end of May. The total J&J doses that the state was planning to use this week represented only about 15% of the total number of vaccinations planned in Virginia this week. Existing J&J doses can be kept refrigerated until their listed expiration dates, which Avula said may be as long as several years out. He said yesterday that it appeared likely the federal government would not ship additional doses of the vaccine until the current pause is lifted. That could come within days. It could come after several weeks. Federal officials are meeting today to determine the next steps in the process. Henrico's Board of Supervisors last night unanimously adopted an operating and capital budget for the coming fiscal year that begins July 1st. It's a $1.43 billion plan that includes a $983.9 million general fund budget. That general fund budget is almost $85 million more than the current general fund budget for this fiscal year. It's about a 9.4% increase. The prominent aspect of this budget is a salary increase of at least 4.4% for all eligible county employees, almost 10,000 or so altogether. Some will get raises higher than 14%, all the way up to as much as 17%. It's also the 43rd consecutive year that the county's real estate tax rate has not increased. It's staying at 87 cents per $100 of assessed value. There are a couple slight increases in the budget, including the monthly bills for garbage collection that'll go up by $3 a month, and water and sewer bills are increasing by almost that same amount. Also last night, a majority of supervisors expressed in no uncertain terms their desire for the county to receive seats on the board of directors for the GRTC bus service. That board governs the regional transportation company. Now, GRTC is wholly owned by the city of Richmond and Chesterfield County, although until a few years ago none of its regular routes extended into Chesterfield. Meanwhile, Henrico, which purchases bus service from GRTC, is expected to become the primary funding source for the organization by fiscal year 2023, according to Henrico Finance Director Megan Coates. That's because of a new funding formula that was established recently as part of the new Central Virginia Transportation Authority, which includes 9 localities in the region. That body is funded by new gasoline and sales tax increases. Half of the money collected is then returned to individual localities on a funding formula that the group established, while 35% remains with the CVTA to spend on regional projects at its discretion, and 15% is allocated to the GRTC. Since Henrico is likely to collect a significant amount of revenue from the 2 increases in taxes, its annual contribution to GRTC also will increase significantly, from about $8.5 million in the current fiscal year to almost $10.5 million next fiscal year, and ultimately almost $14 million in fiscal year 2023. Given that level of funding, Verina District Supervisor Tyrone Nelson implied that it's only logical for Henrico to have seats on the board. Currently it's a 6-person board with 3 officials from the city and 3 from Chesterfield.
We contribute a significant amount of money now. We use the service. We pay for the service. I think we've been talking about this for a while. It's time to just start playing around with it. And they need to change the board membership, modify bylaws, article incorporations. We need to go ahead and start lobbying Chesterfield and the city, and we need to be on the board.
Henrico County Manager John Vitolkas told supervisors that he has already had discussions with other leaders about that possibility and said those in Richmond and Chesterfield were open to the idea. Board Chair Dan Schmidt of the Brooklyn District said that Henrico should make clear to Richmond and Chesterfield the benefits that it would bring if it adds seats to the board. He said, quote, "Henrico's one heck of a partner," end quote. Today's Henrico News Minute has been brought to you by the Henrico County Department of Public Utilities, which is encouraging you to look for leaks. If you have a high water bill, it's possible that you have a leak that you're not aware of. Check for dripping faucets, toilets, and showers, and walk around your yard to see if water is pooling anywhere. You also can check your crawl space and garage. For details, visit henrico.us/utility/high-water-bill-2.